Hi everyone, this is Austin from Relentless Angling, and today we are not going to do an unboxing for Lucky Tackle Box because I recorded it, didn't quite like it. So we're going to use this 55-gallon fish tank behind me to show you what those baits you got in your Lucky Tackle Box, show you how they work in the water, and really how you're supposed to reel them in. So I'm going to show you how to reel them in with the use of a leader, a clamp, and then the lure itself. I normally wouldn't use the clamp, but in order to get through all these baits, a knot tied, bunch of knots, that's the way we're going to do it. So for starters, with the Lucky Tackle Box, this go around I quit my subscription and then restarted it and got 3 months of the Bass XL, which gave you a live target bait and a Livingston lure and a buff. And actually this one we're going to start with is the Livingston lure that we got with that promo. The live target bait that we got with the promo is right here. We got another live target, a Lunker's Hunt, another crankbait, a spoon, and I've never used a spoon, so I'm actually really interested in how it works in the water, a craw rage tail jig, and I have this hooked up to a jig head because that's just what I use. And the one thing to make sure is to kind of match colors, so I got a green pumpkin craw trailer with kind of the green jig head. And then last thing was a Biowa swim bait, and I have that actually rigged up with a weighted hook. We did get hooks in this Lucky Tackle Box, but I'm going to use this pink weighted hook from a previous Lucky Tackle Box that we had gotten, because that's kind of the way I use a swim bait, is with a weighted hook like that. So here goes. Okay, to start off, we're going to try this Livingston lure. And so again, Livingston lures, they actually will chirp to mimic a bait fish. So that's really cool, a cool feature, and they're the only ones that really do that. Alright, the next thing we are going to try is the live target bonus lure. Just to kind of get those out of the way, because not too many people probably got these. Like I said, you had to either cancel your subscription in order to get these first two lures, or just be a new Lucky Tackle Box subscriber. This one actually doesn't want to dive as deep. I think both these crankbaits want to dive about 0 to 4 feet. So keep that in mind when you're using them. Well, this is a 1 ounce weighted lure, so this will actually sink to the bottom when you're not reeling it in. So it's actually really heavy. It'll sink to the bottom and sink really fast. So we'll see how this looks when I'm reeling it in. Live target bait. This is actually a crankbait that dives up to 20 feet, so I'm not going to be able to give it its full reaction just because it dives so deep, but you'll be able to get a little bit of the picture. It's just like another normal crankbait, but it's going to dive up to 20 feet. And you can see with, unlike the other two crankbaits, this wants to dive deep right away. This would actually be a perfect bait for trolling behind a boat. This would give you your 20 feet depth. This crankbait will actually dive up to 10 feet, so this is another deeper diving crankbait. This looks like a suspending, or more of a suspending crankbait, unlike the other two. The other two, when you don't reel them in, they'll actually float back to the surface. Alright, let's try the spoon. I've never used a spoon, so I don't exactly know how you're even supposed to use it. I know it's going to sink right to the bottom, but I know it twists and turns, and on the package it says you rip and reel, and there's multiple things you can do with it, so this will just might be some experimenting. You could probably jig it, or again then just swim it like a normal lure. Alright, now we're going to use this, try the swim bait. Now this swim bait, I normally don't use swim baits, but when I do, I rig them like this. It's with a weighted hook. Since this does have a weighted hook, it will actually sink. But with a weighted hook, it's kind of cool because you can either swim it, or you could let it hit the bottom and just kind of jig it off the bottom. Kind of makes it look like a dying bait fish. This okay. Now for the last bait. Now this, with the Lucky Tackle Box, we just got the crawfish rage tail, but I have it rigged up to a jig because that's just normally how I rig it. And again, I'm trying to match colors, but basically what you want to do is just jig it off the bottom, and you see how the jig head will land first and the craw will actually kind of stay up a little bit. That's going to actually make the bass react to it. Or if you want, it's kind of times like these where it's a little colder out, the fish aren't as active, you can actually drag it on the bottom instead of popping it. That way it's actually a slower target to hit for the bass when they're not as active. Okay, so that's it for today. So watching the baits in the water, it's really intriguing the way they work in the water and the way they swim and how you should be using them, because there's different techniques for multiple baits. I've just kind of went over some of the techniques that I use that I know work. So hope you guys enjoy this. Please like and subscribe, and remember, live for the fight at the end of your line.
Live it up, live it up, live it up.